Welcome one, welcome all. This is the Clash Royale League. Today's very first match in the European season features two esports Goliaths, two heavyweights, two enormous, well, they're kind of a big deal, surgical goblins, Team Liquid, against the very fresh faces of Fnatic. It's time for battle!
Hello and welcome to Clash Royale League. I'm Rich Slayton. Joining me is Inverum, aka Paul Toddkill, to talk you through the inaugural season, the very first professional Clash Royale League.
This is the European region where all of the best teams, 8 of the best teams in the world are competing. Global giants, Goliaths, the likes of Dignitas and Allegiance.
All 8 teams will play each other twice. After that, the 4 teams with the best records will go on to the playoffs. The winner of the playoffs gets a trip to represent Europe in the World Finals.
Oh, yes, indeed. And make sure you hit that subscribe button right here on the Clash Royale League Esports YouTube channel to stay up to date with all the amazing games.
It all starts today with a big matchup between Team Liquid and Fnatic.
Both of these squads have some epic names attached to them, but let's talk about Fnatic, a team of somewhat upstarts who made waves at the Combine.
Dion and Lemon Tea, big stands at the Combine. Asuchini, a talented veteran, here to make his mark at Clash Royale League.
And of course, we have to look across the board at Team Liquid with some of the biggest names in Clash Royale.
3 of the top 5 players from the King's Cup here for Team Liquid. This looks like one of the biggest teams to beat. Right now, we have an interview with one of them, our good friend and teammate Christy St. John, standing by with a player you probably already know, Surgical Goblin.
Hey, what's up? I'm Christy, Surgical Goblin. You dropped an amazing 2v2 video with Diego B last week. How did you get that level of communication? I mean, like hashtag relationship goals.
Yeah, so basically we practice almost every day, or actually every day. Just trying to work like as a team, like trying to work together, like trying to also read his mind, like what's like at his hand. Like during the game you can look at his hand, like the current cards like in his hand. So you're also trying to read like what he's thinking and then just try to work together like that.
Finally, you are facing off against Fnatic today. Do you have any fighting words for them?
Best of luck.
Let's see.
Thanks, Christy. We are moments away from kicking off the European region, but first, let's take a moment to review how this match is actually going to go down.
It all starts with the 2v2. That is our first set here, and of course, a relatively new addition to the competitive Clash format. After that, in set 2, we have the bread and butter, the 1v1, and then, if we need it, we'll go on to the King of the Hill, a relatively new format. We'll talk about that a little bit more if we get there.
The match is right around the corner. Before we get there, our teams are setting their lineups for 2v2. Let's take a peek inside the war rooms and listen in.
Yeah, team. Yeah. Go, yeah.
We're doing the 2v2 with Dion and Lemon versus Surgical and Diego B. Dion, do you have any suggestions for what you think might be strong with Poison Out?
Yeah, I think with Poison Out, with Clone is definitely really strong. It's such a strong card because without the Poison, you actually not really anything that hard counters the Clone. So
since Poison is banned, like for double Poison from both teams, I think I should definitely use Tornado, like to, for example, activate the King Tower if they have, like, I don't know, a miner, a barrel, whatever.
Okay.
And since Poison is banned, I'll use the Graveyard Freeze. I think it's a good, like, surprise if they use, like, let's say a lock or maybe even double lock. Like, I think we can maybe even take the tower
if the
with
log
that.
is itself like a...
Team Liquid and Fnatic, your strategies are set. Now, the proof is in the royal pudding. But enough mucking about with pudding. Send your 2v2 combatants into the arena!
guys.
Fnatic and Team Liquid lined up ready for this 2v2 matchup. On the side of Fnatic, 2 upstarts from the Combine, Lemon Tea and Dion.
These are 2 up-and-coming stars, both put on amazing performances at the Combine, but I think their play is even more than that. We have to talk about more than that, just that performance as well. Of course, They're up against Surgical Goblin and Diego B, two of the biggest names in Clash. If you've seen them play 2v2, you know these guys are terrifying.
There might not be more hardware around two necks anywhere in the Clash Royale community. Of course, Surgical Goblin being the #1 at many tournaments, including the King's Cup, and Diego B, a CR Worlds champion with Mexico.
Oh, yes, indeed. But let's talk about the bans for both of these teams, because
Both teams did poison.
Both teams banned poison. But let's talk about the importance of bans as a whole. It's the ability to just take a card out of both not only your opponent's deck, but your own. In this case, they both banned poison because poison is so crucial in the 2v2 matchup.
With so many cards on the board, potentially 16 from your opponent, that poison can get so much value. We expect to see that ban happening over and over in these matchups.
This is now an opportunity for them to really go in and set up their decks, set up this matchup right now. We've seen some crazy bait play coming out from Team Liquid online. If you've seen that video, are we seeing something similar, do you think?
Team Liquid, very possible. You know, they're going up against Lemon Tea and Dion, who are both known for their control play. Team Liquid, we've seen so far, the ability to set the pace for these 2v2 matchups is so critical. These two guys already have proven that, and if they can do that today, that's how they might get the victory.
Call me the rocket when you want to do the...
All right, here we go. The very first match in the Clash Royale League European Legion. Team Liquid taking on Fnatic. In terms of organizations, these are two of the biggest in the world. So to go head-to-head here in our very first match, this is a sight to behold.
Some of you might be a little surprised seeing Surgical Goblin playing 2v2 rather than 1v1, but there's two big points to make. Number one, 2v2 is all about teamwork, and so far he and Diego play beautifully together. But secondly, don't forget who else they have on the bench over at Team Liquid. The #2 player at the King's Cup, #8 in the world, Azealis.
Oh yeah, this whole roster is absolutely stacked. Any single one of those players can walk in and feel comfortable in a 1v1 setup. It really comes down to making sure that they're feeling good for this 2v2. As we're seeing the push coming in on the right-hand side, the Graveyard is here in the back with the Golem pushing in on the bridge, doing quite a bit of initial damage to this tower.
Really great play. Kind of surprising to see a control deck coming in from Diego and Surge. Thought we might see them pushing harder and faster, but already we're only a little over a minute into the match, and they've already taken that right-hand tower down to under 1,300.
Utilizing that Graveyard in addition with a strong beatdown Golem push. I like using this, creating pressure points on multiple fronts. Now, of course, we're going to see them very easily clean up this giant skeleton. The bomb not going to get a whole lot of value here. As look at that, the Valkyrie being pushed in by that Lumberjack. Amazing placement on that troop.
Right-hand tower as we move to the halfway point, down to 816 for Dion and Lemon Tea from Fnatic. Still some damage on the right-hand side for Surgical Goblin and Diego B as well.
I like having both of these tombstones in this deck. It just helps create a point, especially if this Golem is coming across the board. Oh, maybe it's going to be pulled in towards that as well, and just keeps additional pressure throughout here. But once again, we're seeing this same push coming in on the right-hand side.
That Golem just eating up so much damage and focus, making room for the Graveyard, getting those skeletons on the tower and chipping away at those damage points.
And every single time those little Golems die, they create that splash damage, that area of effect that's going to be constantly knocking down those skeletons, knocking down those bats. But look at this already, only 62 HP remaining. Fnatic needs to make something happen.
That right tower for Fnatic within spell damage range. That thing can be easy to take out now. Will we see Surgical and Diego switch to the right-hand lane and put some pressure? Or will they just play defense here with 30 seconds left?
I don't think there's any reason to overextend here. They're going to keep with the pressure as they need to, but I think that's about it. Even with a beautiful tornado to pull over those troops to the left-hand tower, that is still going to be the Princess Tower falling for Fnatic. And with all of these troops in the way, I don't think that Fnatic is going to be able to make it happen.
Fnatic desperately trying to find some way through, but the stalwart defense of Surgical Goblin and Diego B holding true. That is it. The first game of this set goes to Team Liquid.
We've seen these two players play before. We hear Surgical Goblin talking about wanting to be able to read his mind. That's what it looked like here. They looked so comfortable in that game. There was not a single moment that they were not in control.
We talked a lot about them playing fast decks, but here they switch it up, go a little more control also with that Graveyard in the back. Beautiful play by Surgical Goblin and Diego B. These two are so flexible. They're so versatile. So how do you plan for not only two of the best players in the world, but two of the best players who can really do anything?
I think in this situation, you have to come in and play something that they haven't seen before. They know what's meta. They've practiced everything meta. Now's the time to go in and say, we're going to show you something completely different. I'm not saying they're going to cheese, but I'm saying maybe Fnatic needs to pull out some crazy pocket strategy.
Don't forget Fnatic with Dion and Lemon T, both those guys, some of the best players in the EU Combine. Lemon T specifically went 8-0 in the 1v1, so these guys do know what they're doing. They're just up against a brick wall built with two of these greatest players in the entire game.
I think that's a great way of putting it here. Maybe you can try go around, maybe you can try and climb over, but there's no way that you're going straight through. They need to try and come up with some sort of strategy to dismantle it here, but that mortar looks firm.
Moments away, will Fnatic tie things up and send 2v2 to a third and final game? Or will Surgical Goblin and Diego B close things out and get Team Liquid one step closer to the overall victory? Let's get back into the second game of our first set.
We're getting into it now, and I have to say, all the pressure is on Fnatic. Nobody wants to go down 0-1 in this first game. They want to come out on top. They want to show that they can go toe-to-toe with Team Liquid, who many consider one of the best teams in the entirety of the Clash Royale League.
And if you don't win this 2v2, don't forget, sitting in the wings for Team Liquid Azealia. So you really want to do your best to get this first round, because you're up against a monster in round number 2.
Really what it comes down to is trying to just find those small moments, those tiny opportunities, the cracks in the armor of Liquid to try and exploit that. We know they have the individual potential skill, but can they communicate and do it as a team?
Now putting together a big push supported by that fireball is Fnatic trying to get to the tower. They now take a little bit of a lead early on, taking just around 500 hit points off the left-hand side.
Already, we're not really seeing too much pressure coming out now from Fnatic. We are seeing the pressure now starting to build for Team Liquid, though, and this was exactly what I was looking for. This is the beatdown.
We have double Lava Hound. Remember, there is no poison in this match, so try to deal with those pups, or look at that graveyard. In the first match, we didn't talk about it much. Look at it here again. If you don't have poison, how do you deal with all those skeletons spawning on the board?
Well, now you've also got freeze to add into this mix. There's so much to discuss here, but poison would have been a great answer here. We are seeing a fairly solid hold here for Fnatic. We do have the Hound connecting onto this right-hand tower, but there is a beautiful combo executing onto that. The tornado is there with the fireball, so clean.
Classic. Even though you don't have poison in this 2v2, tornado and big spell together, whether it's rocket or fireball, that gets so much value. As we move towards double elixir time, Fnatic defending that right-hand tower, nearly down to 1,000, just over 1,100 hit points left. Diego B and Surgical Goblin holding strong against Lemon T and Dion.
There just doesn't feel like there's been a moment in this set so far where Fnatic has felt in control. It always feels like Team Liquid is dictating the pace. They're just trading slightly better on every single encounter, but finally it looks like Fnatic is going to take the initiative, dropping this graveyard in the back. The freeze is going to be there as well. Finally getting some damage here. This is exactly what they were looking for.
And a little of their own medicine on that side, but did they spend too much elixir as Surgical Goblin and Diego B put their own graveyard push on the right-hand tower?
This is huge. Both of these teams playing very similar decks here in this matchup. And oh my, this right-hand tower is getting solo. The pups are here. Can they find it? One more attack, and yes, that is going to be it. It's all on to Fnatic right now. They only have 15 seconds. They need to get down this left-hand tower.
As we approach the last 10 seconds, can Fnatic chip this thing away? Down to 620. I don't know if they have anything in store to take that tower down. And a GG coming from the side of Team Liquid. That is it, as you might have thought. Two of the best players in the world show why we view them that way.
Oh me, oh my, what a convincing game from Team Liquid. They looked so impressive from start to finish in both games. They just looked dominant.
Well, there was a big moment here. Right now, we're taking a look at one of the replays. We're going to get that big collecting the tornado together, using the big spell, something you should definitely be looking at, especially playing competitive 2v2. But another huge swing moment is when Fnatic made that graveyard push on the left-hand side. They went all in. They didn't have elixir, and Goblin and Diego B knew what to do, and they punished that right tower, and that was about it. Your winners in this 2v2 match, taking a 1-0 lead, Surgical Goblin and Diego B.
But that is only our first set. There is more to come here in the Clash Royale League for Europe. Up next is the 1v1. This is competitive Clash Royale, like you know it best. This is going to be a little bit more precise. This is a little bit more finesse perhaps here coming in. In this 1v1 matchup, anything is possible. Team Liquid, Fnatic, two powerhouses. I can't wait to see what happens.
Can Team Liquid close this out now, or will Fnatic get back in and send us to that final, that King of the Hill overtime? This is Clash Royale League. This is 1v1. It's about to get crazy.
The dynamic duo from Team Liquid rolled through 2v2. But their lead is as fragile as a god without his shield. Will Fnatic wage a counter push and even the match? Well, a 1v1 showdown will decide it.
We're ready for the second set of this match between Team Liquid and Fnatic, the 1v1. And unlike the first time, we have what I think is a much more even matchup on paper.
On paper, yes. I mean, Asuchini representing Fnatic, this guy is a beast. This guy has so many accolades to his name, but if you look across the board, Azealis, this guy has done so much work in the scene, and his confidence, every single time this guy plays, he plays with style.
Number 8 in the world, second place at King's Cup. Azealis, definitely a dangerous player, and that's why you didn't see Surgical Goblin in 1v1, because you have a guy you know you can rely on. But don't count out Asuchini. Let's look at the new ban cards we have for our second set. From Azealis banning that Valkyrie, and the Electro Wish from Asuchini. Paul, why might he be banning that Electro Wizard?
So Asuchini is known for, on occasion, perhaps playing a card, I don't know, Sparky perhaps, and is there a card that maybe counters Sparky in some?
Electro Wiz, a great counter for Sparky, obviously, and Asuchini known as one of the best Sparky players in the world, so that might be tipping that's the direction he's going, but we've seen some gamesmanship. On the other hand, that Valkyrie...
Is he trying to bait it out?
Very possible. We have 1v1 on its way. Can Asuchini tie it up, or will Azealis seal the victory? This is Clash Royale League. Let's get started.
Let's get into our 1v1 here. Team Liquid gonna look to make it a convincing 2-0, but it's time for Fnatic to fight back.
And we have those Spear Goblins at the bridge. Notice play just off center. That gives them a chance to get one more hit on the tower.
It's little things like that, that we call it min-maxing, finding those optimal points of value. And hey, look! Royal Hogs.
Wow, banning the Valkyrie and the Royal Hogs come out even with the Fireball, still getting some good value on that left tower.
This is exactly what we were expecting here when we saw that ban going in. And now the Inferno Dragon actually getting pretty easy. Oh, the Zap coming in once again. Zap is so crucial for resetting that Inferno Dragon.
Huge reset there, but you're still going to get a couple of big hits. The right-hand tower for Azealis already down to just 1,300 hit points.
Yeah, the right hand and the left hand of that Mega Knight doing work on that tower there. And now we are seeing just a solid defense here coming out, but already Asuchini basically drawing first blood here, getting that tower down to only 1,300 HP.
Very versatile, those Spear Goblins. Notice how he used them to distract the Inferno Dragon. Kind of an underrated card, in my opinion.
I would absolutely agree, and it's having these small units in your deck, those cheap elixir cost, help cycle through, find those maximum points of value, find those defense, and just help take the pressure off from those big game-changing cards.
And Paul, did we expect this? Royal Hogs from both sides.
This is actually really interesting here. So, of course, Royal Hogs sitting in a really good spot right now in the meta. A lot of people are saying that this card is the card to watch out for. Both of these players showing it off right now, but the Mega Knight connecting here onto this tower, and the Inferno Dragon not following it. This is actually huge. Perfect positioning of those Spear Goblins.
We have a mirror match on our hands, folks. Both players showing the same deck, and one of them has to prove that they are better with the same cards.
Well, I was going to say, it's a kind of a rough situation now trying to show off this mirror matchup because the Mega Knights have been the star so far, but the Mega Knight for Azealis is absolutely the MVP.
Asuchini's right-hand tower very, very low at under 300. Just a couple of spells away from being finished. He has to get one of these towers in range if he's going to have hope as we go into the final minute and double elixir time.
One of the things I'm so impressed with is how both of these players have done so much damage to both of these towers. The split pushing potential between the Zappies, between the Royal Hogs, between the Bats have been getting so much value.
And now down to 223, still out of fireball range is the right-hand tower of Asuchini, but getting very, very close.
And every single time splitting up these Royal Hogs, wanting to deny massive value there with that fireball as well. Potentially looking to bait it out potentially here too. But now we see the defense from Azealis was just too much to deal with. Look at this push coming in rich.
Those Royal Hogs going to get to the tower on the right-hand side, and now it goes down. Not even fireball needed. Azealis pulling ahead with the final 10 seconds. That's going to be it, folks. This is an amazing performance by Azealis of Team Liquid.
Azealis putting on a clinic right now, showing how to play this deck to perfection. What a solid game number 1 from Team Liquid.
Very interesting. Asuchini banning the Electro Wizard. We thought we might see his favorite card. We didn't see it that time. Maybe that's too predictable, but maybe we'll see it again. And here we go, a big time replay, a huge moment in the match. We're going to get the Inferno Dragon on that MK, on that Mega Knight, but doesn't do enough damage. He gets through and puts huge hits on that right-hand side.
0 leaked elixir.
0 leaked elixir for
leaked
Azelis.
elixir. That is actually insane. That is perfection coming in from Azelis in that matchup. That is mastery of the craft right there. I have never seen that before. That is insane.
That is so fast and so quick. You noticed almost 2 leaked elixir there for Asuchini. We're going to talk about this all the time during the next few weeks. Leaked elixir is one of the most important factors. Almost 90% of the time, the person that leaks the most elixir loses the match.
So leaking elixir basically means it's building up in your barn, you're not spending it, you're not getting the maximum value out of that. That means there was never a moment there where he wasn't getting maximum value out of his cards.
So next up, the second game of this set. Will Asuchini make some adjustments? Will he bring out that Sparky he's so well known for and probably ban the Ultra Wizard for, or will he do something else to throw off Azelis?
Let's find out as we get into this next game. I love it. Let's get right on into the action here. Both of these players can look to build to 10, but we'll see what comes out. We could see a different deck, or maybe see more of the same.
Keep it in mind that Team Liquid now is 1 game away from sweeping and winning the match, shutting out Fnatic all the way from top to bottom.
That would be actually insane at this level of play. So many phenomenally talented players to do it in just 4 games. On the left-hand side, the Royal Hogs come down, but I like this adjustment. The bowler has arrived.
The bowler is a great, not a hard counter for Royal Hogs because really there's no real 1-card hard counter for Royal Hogs right now, but the bowler does do a good job of minimizing the damage, keeping it just to a few hundred points.
That's really going to be a huge factor here is how these Royal Hogs are played. Traditionally, again, in that last match, we saw them split, but in this situation, we actually saw them all together as one. I wonder what that thought process was for Azelis going for this change. He was really just trying to catch Asuchini off guard.
Very possible. So far, it looks like Azelis running the same deck back again, but now we see Graveyard Poison coming from Asuchini, really trying to put a move on that left-hand tower.
Yes, but responding in kind is going to be Azelis. We have the Royal Ghost there. Actually did a pretty good job of shutting that down. So that was a pretty nice little play there from him. Well, really good value, actually, out of that Graveyard Poison.
Playing a Splash Yard variation for Asuchini, really smart move here, especially with those Royal Hogs. After he lost that first match, made a good call, probably expecting to run back that same deck.
But now we're seeing, I like the switch up here. We're seeing a little bit more variation, maybe gonna be able to deal with these Hogs a little bit better given this particular matchup. I think that's huge because the Royal Hogs were such a big factor. Of course, it was the Mega Knight that did a lot of work there, but still, it was the pressure those Hogs put on.
And now Asuchini out to the lead as we enter into double elixir time. Has the left tower of Azelis down to 730, while still both of his towers in very good condition.
I want to give props to Asuchini in this moment. This is the first time that Fnatic has really been ahead so far in this set. But look at the pressure coming out now from Azelis. The response has to be there. You see the split pressure here, the Mega Knight on the left-hand side with the bats, but look at how much value those Hogs are getting.
Look at the way the bats are distracting the Inferno Dragon of Asuchini. Fantastic play from Azelis, taking advantage of a card that wasn't placed exactly perfectly, which you have to do at this level.
You're off by 1 tile at this level of play, and you will absolutely pay for it. In the back, once again, we do see the Graveyard Poison coming down, and look at how low that tower from Azelis is getting.
Asuchini doing a great job getting that tower all the way down with just 17 seconds left. Does Azelis have the time to get one of these towers down?
He's trying to, but look at, there is the combo. There is the Tornado pulling those key Hogs back, trying to find a good game being called. He knows it's over. We are going to see Fnatic taking us to game number 3.
What a brilliant tornado off of Asuchini. Wow, he kept that in his hand. We didn't see that card until the last second, and he saved the match and secured the victory.
I mean, talk about Splash Yard. I'm thinking, where's the tornado? That's usually played with this here, and we saw it pulled out at the very end to help secure this. Watch this amazing play, able to just pull them back. The Zappy values is there. That was exactly what Asuchini needed to cinch himself the win.
Paul, how valuable was it that he didn't play the Tornado throughout the entire match until that moment?
I think it was huge because it sort of lent to a false sense of security maybe from Azelis there. And we're actually seeing some Elixir leaked. Obviously not a whole lot for both these players actually, which is beautifully done. But really, we're just seeing maybe a few little errors from Azelis that was the difference maker there.
And that's the key. Asuchini making some great adjustments and kind of the mind games of predicting he'd see that same Royal Hog deck again. He prepared for it, he fought against it, and now he sent us to a third and final game in this second set of 1v1.
He needs to win this. If he wins this game, he takes us to King of the Hill. If he falls, Team Liquid will take this 2-0. It's all on Asuchini right now. He needs to make it happen.
The Guatemalan putting up a great fight. And again, we talked about this might be the most even matchup of the day between these two teams. Asuchini and Azelis, both high-level players. Now, we still haven't seen that Sparky from Asuchini. We're ready for game number 3. Let's get in there and see what he's going to do. And here we go. Everything is on the line for Fnatic. Asuchini needs the win to keep his team alive and send it to that final overtime.
Oh, yes. It's going to be a serious matchup here. It's a test of nerves at this point for both of these players in game number 3. We're seeing the pump being dropped, and trying to take advantage of that is Asuchini putting down that graveyard, but really nicely done here. The guards making short work of that.
Possible Asuchini playing that same Splash Yard deck, the Royal Guards, and now might be the Azelis getting into those mind games, playing a deck meant to counter what he thought might be a repeat.
Yes. Man, this is actually a phenomenal matchup. I love this here. Having this pump, there's no real response right now coming out from Asuchini. It's getting so much value right now.
It might be the pump is meant to bait, but at this point, now the pump's going to help him build a big Elixir League as long as it stays on the board.
Oh, this is huge. Look at the way he's placed these as well, meaning the poison is not going to get that optimal value here. I think we are going to see the same deck coming out now from Asuchini, but double pump here on the back as well. Oh, I love this play. The Tornado is there, getting all 3 of those Musketeers in the same lane.
That's a high-level play because now you can throw one spell on them and take care of all 3 at the same time. But smart move, Azelis putting the minion horde on the other side, forcing Asuchini to make a choice.
Making a choice and not having a whole lot of success with it. Look at how low that tower is getting. The minion horde one-shotting that in an instant with the miner there as well. Oh no, that is the power of the double pump. Look how much value Azelis was able to get.
Only halfway through the game in regulation and already Azelis putting Fnatic's life on the line. Asuchini here fighting to keep his team in contention.
This is how you play 3M. He put himself, in a pretty good situation. He thought he dropped, the Musketeers down. He was forced over to one lane. All right, I'll adapt. This is the mark of a top-tier player.
Next level play, and keep an eye on Asuchini's Elixir. He has leaked quite a bit again in this match.
Yes, indeed. He's leaking a little bit here as well, and not really sure I'm totally getting the value there on that Tornado. Not exactly finding, I think, the value he was looking for there. So it feels like Asuchini maybe not really feeling like he's still in this game.
Well, you can get to the point where you're on tilt. One mistake begets another mistake because you're playing catch-up the entire time. And that could be what's happening here. Defending both sides pretty well, but again, he's still not going to be getting back that lead that Azelis has built up for himself.
It just goes to show at this level of play, one mistake is all it takes, not respecting the damage on that left-hand tower, and now Azelis is in almost an insurmountable lead. Asuchini needs to make the biggest play of his life right now.
In 20 seconds, Azelis could close down a near clean sweep of this matchup, winning it for Team Liquid in just 2 sets, and it looks like that's what's going to happen as we hit the final 6 seconds, 5 and 4. That's going to be it for Team Liquid, putting it down, getting the victory here to set off the EU region.
That is going to be it. Team Liquid take the match 2-0. Fnatic showing some life there in that second set, but it just wasn't quite enough.
Unbelievable stuff there. Look, let's look at Team Liquid and look at this play right here. This was the big moment. He had to defend that 3M, thought he had it locked down, but then on the left-hand side comes that minion horde. What a frustrating card, and for 2 reasons. From an offensive perspective, if you play minion horde, it's 5 elixir for those very easily one-shot cards. But on the defensive side, if you simply don't have the counter for it in hand, it can punish you so aggressively.
That just came down to Azelis realizing exactly where he was in the cycle, realizing he could get maximum value out of those cards. He had the Ice Golem, he had the Miner, he had the Minion Horde, throwing out so much elixir on the board, and every single piece of it connected on that tower.
Well, when you have 2 pumps going at once, there is so much you can do. And let's look again, and look at that leaked elixir. There's 0 again for Azelis, 2.32 for Asuchini, and you have to imagine some of that was just looking at the board going, I don't know what to do in this moment.
And 5 more elixirs spent. Look at how much that adds up between the pumps and between just a phenomenal micro play. This is how you do 1v1. Team Liquid showing why they're one of the best teams in the region.
That's it for our first match, folks. Team Liquid taking the victory over Fnatic, living up to the name and showing you why these are 3 of the best players in the world.
Oh yeah, but we're not quite done yet. We do actually have an interview on the floor. Our good friend Christy St. John is here with the winning team over with Team Liquid.
So I am here with Diego B. Diego, you guys both banned Poison at the top. Why did you ban Poison, and then how did you create your deck from that double ban?
Yeah, so we've been practicing a lot of 2v2, me and Serge, and we always like the banning Poison because that means we can use Graveyard offensively without them having to use Poison on defense to defend it. So we've been working around Graveyard Freeze in our decks.
Absolutely, and you guys controlled both of those games pretty perfectly. You know, I asked Surgical Goblin about this. You guys dropped a 2v2 video recently, and you guys have really, really good synergy as, dare I say, a couple? How did you get that? Friends.
Yeah, so me and Serge, we've been talking for a long time, so we're really close. We're like good friends, right? So we joke around all the time. We get along well. So we like, so in 2v2, we just get, like, we communicate and we do good.
That's awesome. All right, well, back to you guys.
The first match of the European region is in the books. Team Liquid taking out Fnatic. Let's take a look at those European standings.
As of now, Team Liquid sitting at the top of this bracket right now, but I think this might be something we're going to come to expect the whole season long if they keep playing like they just did.
They played amazing, and there's a lot more amazing stuff coming right your way. Next up, a matchup between 2 big-time teams at CRL.
Team Queso going up against Misfits. This is going to be an awesome match. I'm really excited to see what Team Queso can bring to the party here. The mobile esports org, this is their home field advantage.
That match coming your way right now, but in the meantime, take your finger and hit that subscribe button and stick around for the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page.
That first match was fun, but let's not wait too long for our elixir to replenish. Prepare for another premier showdown. Team Queso, led by their Spanish superstar, Soking, against Misfits and their standout, ThatOneGuy. You know, that one? Well, anyway, it's time to battle!
The second match in the European region is about to start. A huge matchup between Team Queso and Misfits.
These are 2 of the most dominant teams in Europe. When you look at overall esports as a whole, Team Queso in particular, so dominant in the mobile scene. I'm so excited to see what these 2 rosters can bring to the table.
Team Queso, led by the notorious Soking. Across from him, though, is going to be ThatOneGuy. On top of Team Queso, Soking, Chewy Chew, Saint Belkin, and Benny Ju. A lot of great players. People might overlook Benny Ju. He's top 5 in many big events. On the other side with Misfits, ThatOneGuy, Pepe, and Regu. A lot of other players that you might not know in North America, but they are notorious across Europe.
Oh, yeah. It's also, it's Coochie Coo.
Coochie Coo, sorry.
Come on, Rich. We'll get you there. No, these teams are actually sick. I'm so excited to see how they perform. Soking, we talk about this guy all the time because he is such a beast.
And he's going to be facing off against the leader at some point in this tournament of our other team, Misfits. And to talk with that leader, we're going to go to our teammate, Christy St. John, who's standing by with ThatOneGuy.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Christy here with ThatOneGuy. Something that I've been really curious about watching these matches is banned cards. Can you tell me a little bit about the strategy behind that and how you deal with a ban once it's in place?
I guess the idea behind ban cards and what players try to use to their advantage, you're either trying to ban a card that your opponent really likes so they can't play their best deck, or you're trying to ban a card that counters your deck so your deck works better.
Gotcha. So you think you have a pre-made deck when you come into this?
You have a pretty good idea of what you want to use, yeah.
Great. So thank you so much, ThatOneGuy, and back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Christy. That match is moments away, but let's take a moment to revisit our format.
So it all starts off with the 2v2. This is a new competitive format here in the CRL. 2 players going up against 2 players, double the awesome action. And after that, we have, of course, the 1v1, our bread and butter. CRL, how you know and love it. And then after that, should we need to, we will go to the King of the Hill, our ace match, the deciding factor, the set that will determine who walks away our winner.
And trying to figure that out right now, each team in their respective war rooms, developing their lineups for 2v2 and 1v1. Let's take a moment and listen in.
2v2, obviously Poison and Tornado banned. Cards that aren't going to die easily to splash damage are going to be really effective. Stuff like Baby Dragon, Witch, Executioner. We don't want to go for really non-durable ground cards because they're probably going to be using spells like Lightning, Fireball, Arrows, since Tornado and Poison are banned.
Nos preparamos para esto, practicamos, estuvimos todo el tiempo jugando amistosos, todas las mañanas levantándonos para entrenar, así que estamos ready, ¿no? Vamos equipo, ¿eh? Vamos, dale, vamos. Vamos, dale.
We've heard all the strategy. Now the time has come to execute on the battlefield. The battlefield on their phones, that is. Now send your 2v2 combatants into the arena!
The second match of CRL EU about to get underway with the 2v2 set. And look at these teams. For Team Queso, the 16-year-old Saint Belkin and Benny Ju. Across from them from Misfits, Pepe and Regu.
Oh my, what a solid roster. Looking at Misfits here, Pepe and Regu, 2 big control players. Of course, might be a little bit of a language barrier there, but we'll see Team Queso as well, Saint Belkin and Beniju, a few more strong control players. This is the battle of control right now.
Absolutely. Saint Belkin and Beniju both have some pretty good tournament history. Beniju getting top 5 in a number of tournament formats. Saint Belkin taking first place a few times over in Europe.
Oh yeah, seeing these 2 guys together is going to be super interesting. They both had awesome 1v1 matchups. We'll see how they do in the 2v2. Now look at the ban cards. This is what I expected to see.
Reminding you again that each team can ban 1 card from competition in each round. It stays throughout 2v2, so now Tornado and Poison, why might you ban those 2 cards?
Both of those cards get so much value in 2v2. There are so many troops on the board that those big area of effect or AoE cards get maximum value.
We're about to get underway with this 2v2 matchup between Team Queso in the red corner, Misfits in the blue corner. This is CRL. Let's go.
Let's get into the game right now. 2v2. I am absolutely loving this format, Rich. We are seeing so many awesome combos, so many awesome plays. I cannot wait to see how these teams further develop the meta.
With 32 cards on the board, there are so many possibilities. We've seen everything. Now, we have 2 teams here, both known for playing control. So far, we've seen the team that goes after it first is the one that wins.
Oh, yeah. And we're already seeing 2 witches come out from both sides, which a card we haven't really seen a whole lot of yet in 2v2 and being run by both teams so far. The golems passing like ships in the night, and the clone is coming out as well.
Clone doesn't make a big splash in the 1v1 meta, but in 2v2, when you have so many cards, throwing one in there can be a nice momentum shift. I'm surprised to see it so early, though, in the match.
A literal splash when dealing with these golems, indeed. But I agree, I'm kind of surprised to see it thrown out so early. Clearly, it's not sort of being that massive, amazing clone value. It's just going to be an integral part of how this draft functions as a whole.
Pretty even play so far. No one doing significant damage on the tower. Oh, now, big shift. I spoke way too soon. The right-hand tower for Team Misfits down to under 1,000 hit points.
All of a sudden, the Lumberjack found his mark. He's like, I guess this is a tree. Let's go to town. And he did absolute work on that right-hand tower. But now both teams reset. They take a breath. They take a break. They've done that initial push. I love this, the ebb and flow of this. It's like watching a dance.
You have to contend with that Lumberjack somehow. Paul, when you look at Pepe and Regu's deck, what do you see that can stop it?
What do I see that can stop that Lumberjack? They've got a few options here. I'm really looking for that Valkyrie coming out. And also, the Witch. If you get her in the right position and those skeletons are coming out, distracting the Lumberjack, that's a great way to shut that down.
Now another big Golem Witch push coming from Team Queso down the right-hand side.
Seeing this Golem just walking his way through. The Lava Hound is in the back though, but this Golem is getting all the way through to the tower. It's already weakened. This is absolutely massive, and a second one is already down.
The right-hand tower for Misfits barely holding on from that push. Team Queso putting the pressure on.
What an absolute party happening on the right-hand bridge right now. The fireball as well, more like the fireworks right now. Look at this push. So much elixir on the board. The Lightning trying to clean this up. Lightning also a card finding some home in 2v2.
30 seconds left in this match. Can Misfits find a way to get that right-hand tower down? Will there be enough time? With how control-based these decks are, I'm really not sure it's available.
I'm really not sure either. We are seeing the clone coming out right now. The clone pups are doing some work here. We're seeing it again. Look at all those pups coming out, but with only 10 seconds remaining, this is going to be very, very difficult for Misfits to deal with.
The double baby dragons making it really hard for any sort of clone, especially clone pups, to get any traction on that tower, and that is it. Team Queso taking the first game of our 2v2 set.
Just solid, standard play from start to finish. Nothing too crazy coming out. No attempt to cheese despite the Queso name. But all we saw here was just fantastic pushes supporting that quintessential beatdown, the Golem, such an integral part of this deck.
You can really lose focus on a card. That's what happens here. We see that Lumberjack come in. Normally, you don't see Lumberjacks actually get onto the tower. They usually get stopped early and drop their rage spell. But hiding behind that Golem, the Golem splits into the two mini Golems. Lumberjack rides all the way in, pushing them forward as a shield, gets on that tower, chop, chop, chop. That's all she wrote.
And a lot of situations, you actually don't mind that Lumberjack falling a little bit early because, of course, then you get value off of the rage. But in this situation, the Lumberjack with that little axe doing a lot of damage.
Benny Drew and St. Belkin, the 16-year-olds, opening up an early one-set lead for Team Queso. If they can win this next match, they close it up and go into 1v1 with a huge advantage.
Oh yeah, and fun fact, between these two players, they have over a 65% win rate overall. Those are crazy numbers, and they're showing off their pedigree in this match.
That win rate could extend right now as we go into the second game of our 2v2 set.
Let's get into the match. I'm super pumped. You can hear the energy. You can feel the energy in the room right now as all of these players are getting so hyped. Team Queso is feeling it.
And we see another Golem in the back and more appearances of the giant snowball. Kind of surprised to see that has not been adopted heavily by the 1v1 meta, but in the 2v2, with so much stuff on the board, might have more value.
I can definitely see there being a place for it here. It's just sort of being cycled out to start this off. Clearly, they're looking for some key combo cards on the side of Misfits here, but once again, we see the Witch coming through with the Golem. The Witch is going to be taken down, but the Golem is already across the bridge, but this is where Inferno Dragon thrive.
That Golem split, though, going to get at least a little bit of death damage on the right-hand tower, and now Team Queso putting Misfits down to 21-35 in the right-hand lane.
Wow, watch the clone value coming out. Look at all the rage being generated right now for Misfits. But a good defense coming in from Team Queso. I'm actually a little bit surprised there. That key positioning, pulling out that Lumberjack slightly out of position there. That was massive in that push.
We're starting to see the value of the snowball with so many small troops. Has a little wider spread than some other cards in the same situation for very little cost.
Yeah, one of the things I'm really looking forward here is how Misfits can use this P.E.K.K.A. They're up one game in this set right now. Of course, it's only set number one, but still, both of these teams want to be the one to draw first blood here and go up 1-0 overall in this match.
Team Queso trying to close this thing down, and again we see that Lumberjack behind the Golem, running it back. It worked well the first time. Why not do it again? Will Misfits have a different answer for that Lumberjack hidden behind the Golem?
Great value on that giant snowball, actually knocking back the Inferno Dragon of Misfits right now. So what happened there was the Golem came through, pushing out the P.E.K.K.A. out of the way, and actually not allowing to maintain that lock for the Inferno Dragon for Team Queso. So their own Golem actually putting them at a slight disadvantage here, and we're seeing it now in this push.
The Golem for Misfits looking to get on that tower, maybe even things up. And here we have the clone again. Snowball in cycle, able to take out a lot of those clones, but so much action happening on the side for Misfits offense.
Here comes the rage. Clones on clones, Lumberjacks on Lumberjacks. Look at all the rage being generated here on the field, and that is the Princess Tower going to fall, and already getting a lot of damage on the King Tower here in the back. Are we looking at potentially our first 3 crown of the day?
Inferno Dragon gets the lock on, and that is it. Misfits with the come from behind victory, and Inferno Dragon in 2v2 makes it all the way to the King Tower and chews it up.
Lumberjacks on Lumberjacks on Lumberjacks. There's no forest remaining here. The rage value here was absolutely insane. The clones were spot on. This was absolutely massive. Watch how fast the defenses fall here for Team Queso.
Once we get that spell cycle on that tower, it starts to chew up. And here, you have to defend against all the troops in front of it. And just like in the first game, we saw the Golem kind of clearing the way for the Lumberjack. In this case, we saw those troops clearing the way for the Inferno Dragon, letting it get that King Tower lock. And if you can't stop it, if you can't reset it with a Zap, Electro Whiz, something like that, you're out of luck.
They'd already used their 2 snowballs earlier on in the fray, so that was massive. They didn't have that key spell. They didn't have the Zap in the arsenal, so that's absolutely huge here. And of course, we talk about the bans. They've been prevalent throughout this entire match. Not having Tornado, not having Poison. That was absolutely huge here in this matchup.
So massive. And now we are into the third and final game of this set. One of these two teams will close it out and go into 1v1 with a 1-game advantage in the ability to close out the entire match.
It looks like we're seeing a slightly different deck coming out now so far from Team Queso. The Dark Goblin, something I think we can actually see a lot of in 2v2.
The Dark Goblin, with so much stuff in front of it, can get so much value, and we're seeing that already.
We're able to just line up and shred down these massive tanks, and we're also seeing another unit that excels at clearing the waves. It is that giant skeleton. Didn't necessarily hit so hard himself, but when he drops that big bomb, oh boy, it makes a big boom.
That bomb can take out so much. So you put so much elixir on the board, and then that bomb can wipe it almost all out in one fell swoop.
And we're going to see it here now as both of these baby dragons push in and just watch them go. We're actually seeing one of them surviving, getting a little bit of additional damage here, but here comes the Graveyard.
Getting a cannon cart and a Graveyard push on the left-hand tower. Here's the freeze as well. Inferno Dragon just not able to handle the weight of so many skeletons.
Inferno Dragon not ideal in managing those skeletons there. He's like, I can only target one thing at a time. But instead, we see a lot of great damage coming. Now, Team Queso looking solid here in game number 3.
And now we get a retarget, not a retarget, but a distraction on that Inferno Dragon, learning from last time. You can't let it go unguarded. As we approach the halfway point of regulation, both teams fairly even on the left-hand side, a slight advantage for Team Queso on the right.
Yeah, Team Queso now, I mean, they're setting themselves up. They're doing okay. Overall, they do have a slight advantage just between these two towers here. But now we see the P.E.K.K.A marching in the lane, being pushed in by that Lumberjack. Watch how fast immediately that giant skeleton gets ripped apart.
But those troops can't get past the river, and kaboom, they get ripped apart by the giant skeleton's death bomb.
That was absolutely huge. The P.E.K.K.A is going to fall, and now it's the opportunity for Team Queso. And it's all about the back and forth in this matchup, how they're able to defend and now able to push with the freeze, with the Graveyard. And now the clone is coming in, but getting almost no value.
Graveyard getting heavy on that left-hand tower. Now at 189 within fireball range, Team Queso can put that tower down with ease. Time to defend on the left-hand side, maybe put some pressure on the right, Paul.
Maybe that's the time right now. I mean, if I'm Misfits in this situation and I'm looking to push across, I need to make the same massive push that we just put together in that last game. We need to try and find a way right now because their tower is oh so low, and building up behind the goal, that's a good way to do it.
20 seconds remain. Can they get all the way through? A lightning big spell clears out the back, but that Golem getting distracted. Not a lot looking here. With 10 seconds left, I don't think they have an answer. Fireball comes out, putting that left-hand tower down. That's probably going to be it, and Team Queso is going to take our first set of 2v2.
Team Queso feeling fired up here. I love the passion. I love the energy. They're able to find some key synergies with that Graveyard, with that freeze, and making it work here in 2v2. They will go up 1-0 overall in best of 3 sets.
We've seen that Graveyard freeze be so nasty over and over again, and this is it, the coup de grace, the final chop. Once you get under 201 or under, that fireball can just end your day.
Not a whole lot of fun to be in that situation, and just know that fireball is coming. St. Belican, Beniju from Team Queso taking it here. They gotta be feeling good.
2v2 is in the books, but a 1v1 showdown is at hand. Will we see a sweep or an epic rally? I genuinely can't contain myself right now, so we better get on with it. 1v1 combatants, on to the arena!
Here we are ready for the 1v1 set in this match. And keep in mind, Team Queso out to the lead. They have the chance to close this thing up right now.
They are up 1-0 in this set. If they win in this 1v1 matchup, they will take down Misfits 2-0. That would be pretty crazy here to start this off. Talking about Misfits, ThatOneGuy. We're going to talk a lot about ThatOneGuy.
ThatOneGuy has been top 20 at the King's Cup, top 200 in ladder, but across from him, the guy who wants to shut him down and win this for Team Queso, a guy who needs very little introduction for the Clash Royale community, Soking.
The Latin American superstar, Soking. He has been putting on work every single time he plays. He's such a pleasure to watch because he's always so calm, so cool, so collected. Watching this guy play is so impressive because he makes plays by the skin of his teeth. Nobody else should pull off, but he does.
We have new ban cards for 1v1 that'll be here for all, potentially 3 games. For Soking, banning the Valkyrie, and the Inferno Dragon making a rare ban appearance for ThatOneGuy.
Inferno Dragon, a staple in a lot of decks in the meta right now. Valkyrie, sort of more indicative of potentially seeing some Royal Hog play coming out, but denying Inferno Dragon, potentially more beatdown styles coming out, having those big, heavy frontliners where that really excels. A lot to deal with here.
Valkyrie contends with so many different cards, and it's been huge lately. It's so powerful, so dangerous, and it opens up a lot of opportunities. Now, we have seen some players ban Valkyrie and then not throw out Royal Hogs, almost as kind of a juke.
It's sort of a mind game indeed, but we'll get into this first game here in just a second. See if they pull it out. I'm genuinely really excited. Both of these players have been known to play some crazy decks. Let's see what happens.
1v1 is on its way. Soking versus ThatOneGuy. Team Queso versus Misfits.
ThatOneGuy has a hill to climb in Soking right now. Already seeing the log cycled out and Zappies coming down. Zappies we've seen a decent amount of today, and both players are pulling it out.
That really shows how valuable they are. You see these pros playing them over and over again. You know, to an amateur player, the Zappies might look kind of weak, kind of small, but the pros realize how much they can stop a card in its tracks.
Oh yeah, the Zappies are so good at shutting down aggression, and Zappies and Ewiz coming out for Soking. He really wants to ride the lightning.
And a fireball placed to hit that tombstone and the right-hand tower. And here we see the Hog from ThatOneGuy, countered fairly nicely. A 2-hit counter, though, from the P.E.K.K.A. on the left-hand side.
That Hog is going to get one swing in that matchup, but now, of course, you do have to deal with that P.E.K.K.A. yourself. But the Zappies actually fairly adept at doing that. Watch how well they're able to just slow it down and removing that flying machine as well. He's going to be walking around there for quite a while.
2186 for the left tower of Soking, 2333 for the right tower of ThatOneGuy. As we approach the halfway point of regulation, this is anybody's match.
That Ice Golem getting so much value. Oh, almost being able to deny the Bandit charge right there. That would have been sick. Kiting out the P.E.K.K.A. and the Bandit simultaneously. ThatOneGuy making big plays.
1 card remaining that's been unclaimed for Soking, 2 in the pocket for ThatOneGuy.
Both of these players playing relatively standard decks here, nothing too crazy. But one thing I'm noticing, oh, there's the Magic. I may have spoken too soon as we're seeing a Magic Archer joining the fray.
Quickly countered, though, by that Fireball, and even Elixir trade gets it off the board. Not much benefit from that wonderful Magic Archer so far in the match.
Oh, that was so nice there. The combination of the Zappies, the tower, and the P.E.K.K.A. That Hog this time around got exactly no value. Not a single swing being landed on that tower.
Keep in mind ThatOneGuy has been leaking a lot of Elixir so far in this match, and as we've said before and we'll say again, the one who leaks the least Elixir tends to win by a huge margin.
Oh yeah, leaking Elixir, of course, is not using it when it builds up in that bar and not taking full advantage, being able to play out as many cards as humanly possible. So, again, we're seeing it every now and again here as well. So really watching for ThatOneGuy to take advantage of that. Of course, there's a combination of positioning, wanting to make sure your card's in the right spot, but also getting maximum value out of your Elixir.
Halfway through double Elixir time, only about 25 seconds away from sudden death overtime. It's still a neck-and-neck heat. Both players doing a good job of kind of stopping the ideas and the premises and the goals of their opponent.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing a massive win condition developing here for either side. Both are just sort of slowly chipping away as we're about to go into overtime right now, but I may have spoken too soon as a battle ram has joined the fray.
Bandit Ram, a really great bridge spam combination, so that P.E.K.K.A. Ewiz Bandit Ram, we've seen it in the meta over and over and over again, and it now gives Soking a very narrow but important lead as we go into sudden death.
Finding that exact moment, the second overtime starts, we see the Ram charge through on the right-hand side with the Bandit to back it up. And now we're just looking to cycle through, getting great value with that Fireball, denying the Tombstone as well. And look at that position with the Bandit, just taking down that Magic Archer.
Really beautiful getting across the river and not just taking out the Archer, but making some way to get potentially another Ram. It gets stopped, but it was a great concept.
Oh, really nice pull there as well, bringing those Barbarians back over the bridge. That one guy's Ice Golem play has been absolutely on point.
Trying to get that Hog back and cycle, finding a way to chip away at that left-hand tower, but that one guy being forced to spend so much elixir defending his right side. And now he's tried to switch lanes, going right with that Hog Rider.
Going right this time. Again, the P.E.K.K.A always there to deal with that, though. And now we are seeing quite a push coming in. That Fireball maybe would be able to get a little bit more value there. Take down the Flying Machine, but now this is quite a push coming out from Soking on the right-hand side. Oh, not getting Ice Golem there in time. The charge disconnects on the tower.
Ice Golem not having its best use, but that Tombstone coming in behind to be a distraction, doing a great job, but not enough. Down to 399 is the right-hand tower of that one guy.
2 more Fireballs, and this tower will bite the dust. And that one guy knows it. He needs to deal with this now. He needs to get a massive push lined up. He needs to find his win condition in this moment. But the Hog, it's not ideal in the situation. He's going to try and charge it through, and I'm not sure it's going to be enough.
The Hog maybe, nope, not going to get any swings on the tower. While it's done a good job, you know, part of Hog play is switching lanes, but so much switching lanes here has put him at a deficit with that right-hand tower down to under 400.
I got to give a lot of props to that one guy as well, though, because his Magic Archer play has been phenomenal. This is a very high skill card. Its positioning is absolutely crucial here, and it has been able to get a ton of value getting its damage through multiple targets.
The P.E.K.K.A completely unharmed, making its way across the board. What will Soking put behind it? The Bandit, now that Fireball. All Soking has to do is cycle through, get one more Fireball, and that is going to be the game.
That is going to be it. It all comes down to this. Can that one guy rally somehow? No, the Hog does fall. They know this is going to be the end, looking for this final Fireball. That's going to be all she wrote. The Bandit's there on the tower, and that's it. Soking takes game number 1.
Soking taking the first game of this 1v1 set, continuing to build on that lead for Team Queso. Let's take a look at this replay, and there we go, the Battle Ram on the right-hand side. The Zappies not getting down fast enough to stop the charge, and that was a huge swing in this match.
Oh, that was absolutely massive. The way the Bandit was spent was absolutely crucial.
This is a massive stat. 10.82 elixir leaked. That's an entire cycle. That's an entire, look at that rotation.
It's literally an entire cycle.
That one guy, and we can see that advantage. Leaked elixir for Soking on the other side, just about half an elixir point.
That is crazy. We're watching Soking. He doesn't have, other than the P.E.K.K.A, he doesn't have really a ton of those massive, huge beatdown cards. He doesn't actually play them as they reach 10. He can actually play them at that 9 mark. And when he does that, it allows him to just keep his cycle really clean, making sure he's not leaking any elixir, or in this case, almost none.
Well, the P.E.K.K.A is a big-time card, but it's a defensive big-time card. You're not trying to build a push behind it. So you can get that thing on the board, playing that bridge spam, a deck that many of you are probably playing at home, a very popular one. Soking, using the meta to his advantage and putting that one guy's back against the wall. Let's remind you right now, if Soking wins this next game, that will be game, set, match. Team Queso will have one in the books.
All right, here we go. Game number 2, set number 2. If Soking takes this game, Team Queso will take this 2-0 over Misfits. It all comes down to this, back against the wall. That one guy needs to go off.
Now notice we haven't seen a lot of this so far at CRL. Both players sitting on their elixir pall. Why might they do that?
So they're really looking to get the advantage of going second, because when you see where your opponent plays their first card down, you're then able to counter it. You have a slight advantage as that unit, that troop, is coming over the bridge a little bit sooner.
To be fair, you do have to be careful to not sit and wait so far, because we talked about leaked elixir. So if you wait too long to get that advantage of reaction, you could also put yourself at a deep elixir hole.
There's also the idea of talking about going to double elixir time, and some decks excel in double elixir time, so players are more than content to wait this out, because of course in the competitive format they do have 3 minutes of overtime.
1 minute down, we are 1 minute away from double elixir, and we're not going to wait that long. The Witch in the right-hand lane for Soking.
You're seeing the Ice Wizard in response, putting down the Witch in the back. This card is great. I love the Witch. She just generates all these skeletons out. She's so annoying to deal with, especially when you put a Giant down right in front.
Giant pushing forward, tanking for the Witch. And now a beautiful tornado to activate the King Tower.
What a sick play coming in from that one guy. The tornado there pulling in that miner. This is going to be crucial for the defense because, of course, that King Tower does not shoot until it takes damage. So if you're able to pull in a troop with, say, a tornado in this matchup and activate it early, you get a massive advantage on defense.
A 3-spell deck for that one guy. We have not yet seen the win condition. With the card cost being so low, what might this be, Paul?
There's a lot of options here. We're looking towards maybe something high-end on the beatdown because, of course, Inferno Dragon was actually banned. We are actually going to see an Expo. All right, I know you love that Expo deck.
Expo is my favorite card in the game, but it's all about timing, and you have to do it when you have an Elixir lead. And in this case, he didn't have one, and the Giant able to make easy work of that Expo with nothing to defend in front of it.
Yeah, that Expo not really in a sick position there. The King Tower getting a lot of value, but already the Giant is swinging away, and the push still lives on the right-hand side. Now we are seeing the Expo being dropped again. This is when you want to use this card. Now it's going to start to get value. Actually finding that Witch first off, that was massive.
A very interesting Expo cycle, but you do have the 3-spell deck, so with Tornado, Fireball, and Log, that might take the place of a Tesla, which you often see paired with the Expo.
Absolutely, but now we're going to see this Giant once again getting so much value because of the nature of the Expo and where you need to place it. The Giant is just going to beeline right for that target, and it doesn't take a whole lot of swings for him to bring it down.
This deck for that one guy is so fast, but Soking also playing fairly cheap, able to stay one step ahead and not let that Expo get locked on the towers.
Now we talk about the cycle a lot here. It's the ability for you to get through all of the cards in your hand and all of the cards in your deck. Having a short cycle means that you're able to get out all of those key cards really fast, and we're seeing Soking characterizing this here, having a lot of super cheap cards.
Miner making short work of the Expo again as we enter into our sudden death overtime. Soking with a very slight lead.
Very slightly, just getting a little bit of decent chip damage here on both sides, but really haven't found an instance yet where this Expo deck has really thrived. When that Expo is able to lock onto the tower, it's got some pressure in front of it, and it's able to just rip through that structure. Now you're seeing great tornado value here once again, but the miner is still on the tower.
Very aggressive play from Soking. A little dangerous with the Expo in such a fast cycle deck, but with all the small card hits he has, I think he feels confident really pushing at certain moments.
He's really got to find those moments too, because that one guy, we've talked about it, he is down in the set. He needs to take this for his team, or Misfits will be done in 2 games. He needs to make some big plays here. He needs to be aggressive, but of course, he can't overcommit with this Expo.
And here's an interesting Expo use, trying to get that Giant to pull to the center rather than go towards the tower, switching up the game plan, and that might be what's necessary to win this match for that one guy.
But a lot of resources committed by Soking to take it down, though. We are going to see quite a lot of value, though, with the Lumberjack on the left-hand side. Actually, nice positioning on that Ice Wizard to shut that down. That Rage getting no value.
Well, that one guy, I think he put the Expo in the middle there for 2 reasons. One, to pull the Giant over, but also because he knows that Soking doesn't have a lot of range damage. And so those troops, when they're playing at the bridges, they can get on that card so quickly, not in that position. Now, here's a defensive Expo. I actually like this right now because with that triple spell, he can really use that to distract off that right-hand tower, force the play we're seeing here on the left, and do that damage to stop the push.
But of course, that Giant is going to be able to soak up so much damage, and all the while, Soking was still getting pressure on that left-hand tower. This Lumberjack has been so potent throughout the course of this match.
1 minute left and everything is on the line. Soking is 717 now, 505 hit points away from closing this thing out for Team Queso and taking the overall victory.
We are getting so close to the end of this game. All Soking has to do is cycle through this Fireball. He just needs 2 more here to make this happen right now. But he also has a Zap, so 1 Fireball, 1 Zap will be enough. But we finally see the lock there on the right-hand side. The Expo is going to be able to get to the tower. The miner is trying to disrupt this, but actually, that's the Expo ripping apart Rich.
The Fireball is down. Can he get the Zap? And that is it! A photo finish for Team Queso. Soking, wow, so close. That one guy finally found the tower lock, and it was just by a hair that he couldn't beat the Fireball Zap combination.
Oh man, he finally got it back in hand. So close. Soking coming in with the win here. Match number 2, game number 2. Team Queso taking it 2-0 over Misfits.
That is game, set, match for Team Queso. Soking, living up to his reputation. And here was a big moment. We put the Expo on the left-hand side with ThatOneGuy. Looks like he's defending well. But again, that sneaky lumberjack gets in behind, gets on the tower, and chews up so much.
Now we're seeing a slight difference here in the Leaked Elixir, but overall still, both of these players did a fantastic job. That game was a nail biter. Really, it came down to the faster rotation of Soking, able to get those cards out quick, able to use that Giant as that strong frontliner, soaking up all that Expo damage. ThatOneGuy just not quite able to find the opening he needed.
A 4 elixir difference, approximately maybe 3.5 for the Leaked Elixir. And again, we see that Soking taking the victory, and that is it. Team Queso in 2-0. No need for King of the Hill. My favorite format. I'm sad not to see it, but guess what? We are here 6 days a week, and when you hit that subscribe button, you'll be able to watch King of the Hill happen over and over and over again.
So much amazing Clash Royale action with Team Queso taking the win here. Look at these guys being such amazing sportsmen, shaking hands, because at the end of the day, it's all about the love of the game. And of course, again, absolutely do subscribe. We are here a lot. And of course, we're also excited to be sharing all of the amazing Clash Royale action with you.
Day 1 is in the books for the EU. Tune in tomorrow for Day 2 of North America, and come back on Thursday for Day 2 of EU competition. For all of us here at Clash Royale League, I'm Rich Slayton. This is Inverin Paul Todkill.
Yes, but we're not done. We have an interview with the winning team here, because there's more to this team. Christy St. John is here too, Rich, and she has an interview. We're going to hop right over to that.
Thanks, guys. So, St. Pelican, how you feel?
I'm feeling pretty good. Me and Benny, although we had some luck on our side by having our win condition in our starting hand, which is very good for 2v2, I think we showed our abilities in a new format of 2v2 and showed that we are capable of beating some of the Europeans' best players.
You did come back with an amazing play. You graveyard froze twice, and it worked well. How did you know that that play would work so well against the deck that they had?
So we did some analysis on them, and we recognised that they had very little for the Dark Goblin, which needs log or arrows to be killed. So comparing the Dark Goblin with the Graveyard Freeze allowed us to kill all their support troops with the Dark Goblin, while also taking the tower with the Graveyard Freeze.
Absolutely, and I think the thing to take away from this is the victory for Team Queso. Good job, man.
Thanks.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Christy. Some fantastic insight from St. Belkin.
Oh yeah, gotta love to see the additional insight that these players bring now. And of course, the research that goes into this, scouting out those matchups, it's so important.
And that's what puts Team Liquid and now Team Queso at the top of the European standings. Sure, it's a long season, but you gotta love getting that early win.
Oh yeah, at least no matter what happens for the rest of the season, they can say, look, we were top 4 when it counts. And that's, of course, where they want to be, because the top 4 go on to the playoffs.
To see all that action, make sure you hit the subscribe button on the Clash Royale Esports YouTube page. And our next show, when you hit that subscribe button, is going to be Thursday for EU. And also, if you don't want to wait, tomorrow we have more of North America.
6 days a week right here on the Clash Royale YouTube page. So again, hit subscribe.
Seriously,
get all the action.
Do that.
Hit subscribe.
Yeah, for real. And if you see more of me, Rich Slayton, my buddy Paul Todkill,
he's going to get it right one day.
One of these days, I'll get his whole name right. And if you subscribe, you can see it happen. We will see you tomorrow.
And thus ends a day of battle that will go down in history. Let the scores be etched in time, and the standings reflect the results. I, for one, am exhausted. Please, please, please subscribe to the Clash Royale Esports channel, won't you? I know I will. And stay tuned for all of the action leading to the CRL World Finals. This is the Clash Royale League.